This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All righty, there he is. How you feeling, my man? You feeling good?
I'm doing good. How you doing, man?
I can't complain. Let me lean back here on the couch here a little bit. I'm in the combine. You're still home, right? How's the winter storms treated you?
Better. You know, we didn't have power for 3 days last week. It was almost 72 hours, which, you know, we were about ready to go Lord of the Flies on each other. But another storm coming today. We're going to get some snow in a couple hours, so hopefully it won't be as bad as it was last week, because we're all spoiled, right? You know, everything works, electricity. I don't have a generator. Maybe one of these years I'll buy one. And I know down there you guys, you know, you get different kinds of storms.
It's the law. You better have a generator in our town, bro.
Yeah. So,
you know, I'm in Indianapolis right now where it's cold and rainy right now. So it's like the perfect afternoon to like dive into bed.
What would be if you were at the combine? What would you measure the strongest in?
Eating.
I think I do best on the Wonderlic. I think I do good on the personality testing, not on the physical testing.
Let me see. Which one would I do? The gauntlet. There you go. I got the hands, baby.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I have pretty good hands too. I can't run away from anybody, but if you throw it in my neighborhood, I will catch it.
But that's the beauty of the gauntlet. I don't have to run away. I just got to catch. So There you go. I'll go with the gauntlet. I've survived the gauntlet of life. That gauntlet is nothing, bro. You know, I'm ready to go. So it's all good in the hood, as they say.
Somebody posted on Twitter a movie that I don't even know I've seen the whole thing, but there's a movie in the 80s called The Best of Times where.
Oh yeah, wear the white shoes, baby.
Right. Yeah, Kurt Russell and Robin Williams, and Robin Williams is going to be like the least likely to ever be a wide receiver. But on the climactic play, I'm going to spoil it. A movie that came out in 1986. But on the climactic play, he makes this great spin move at the line of scrimmage and gets open and catches the game-winning touchdown.
But the key was that Kurt Russell showed up in the white cleats.
Right.
That was the key.
Reno Hightower. Right. Yeah.
Right. That was right when they knew that they were going to win. Unlike, let's say, Tom Hanks, who thought he was going to win when his catcher showed up for Game 7 of the Ladies World Series. Mm-hmm. You know, he thought, but she purposely dropped that ball, right?
Well, this all specifically raises a question: what is the best sports movie of all time?
Dude, I think it all depends on what kind of a sports fan you are. Mm-hmm. Because if you take it serious, then you're going to pick one of the serious movies. You know, what's the Robert Redford one, or
The Natural,
or the other one with the If You Build It, Field of Dreams, or the one of the two football players when he's dying, the Bears and
Ryan Song.
You're going to pick something like that. Then, if you're a comedy guy, you're going to go Major League, Bad News Bears, you know, Bull Durham, The Replacements. You know, you're going to pick something that has a little bit more comedy to it. So
you could also get lost in the definitions, okay? Because if this movie counts, there's one movie I like better than everything else, but people are always going to scream that's not a sports movie. But if you count either pool or poker as a sport, I would take The Color of Money or Rounders over anything else.
Yeah, but not a sport.
But they're not sports. So a lot of people will say, "Well, could a pool player be in the cover of Sports Illustrated?" There have been poker articles in Sports Illustrated, but a lot of people will scream up and down they're not sports.
No, they're not athletes. Yeah.
So then I would probably come back to probably Bull Durham for me, or maybe Tin Cup or something like that, which are both written by Ron Shelton.
There you go. Bull Durham would be.
Ron Shelton also wrote The Best of Times. A lot of these sports movies were tied to Ron Shelton.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that actually. That's a good nugget to know. But I think it's very subjective when it comes to that, because it all depends.
Subjective. You're a radio host. You have opinions. You know.
Oh no,
your own criteria. What are you gonna go with?
I mean, I never have an opinion on this show. If I'm gonna go, my favorite sports movie of all time. It's a good one. Doesn't matter what kind of
Longest Yard could be in there.
Oh, guys, so good. I think I broke his freaking neck. I broke his freaking neck. I broke his freaking neck. Let's see.
Caddyshack? Would you count Caddyshack? I mean,
Oh my God.
I'm surprised we haven't mentioned that yet.
Yeah, no. There's a lot of really, really good ones, man. What would be my favorite? I got to tell you something. Maybe it's because it meant so much in my childhood. I'm going to go with the Bad News Bears.
No, great one.
Just going to go with the Bad News Bears.
I love the second one, too, in Break and Training where they play in the Astrodome.
Yeah.
They're going to get bounced, and then the real Astros are in the dugout, and then the whole place rallies behind them. And I when I was a kid, Kelly Leak was like the cool. I wanted to be like Kelly Leak, you know.
Exactly.
I wanted to ride a motorcycle. I wanted to hit home runs against kids. I was probably 7 years older than. At least it looks like he is. But
right.
You know.
And Tatum O'Neal was a cutie in those days and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm with you. They jumped the shark when they went to Japan.
No.
That one was
two worked. If you can get two movies that work, because so often the sequel is terrible in almost anything.
Yeah,
and sometimes they make a sequel that has nothing to do with anything. Like the fact they made a Caddyshack 2 that has nothing to do with the original Caddyshack is an abomination. But the second one, very good. They should have stopped it too. Quit when you were ahead. You could even argue The Godfather shouldn't have gone to 3.
Yeah, no, The Godfather 3 is bad. Godfather 2 is excellent.
Maybe better than the first one.
It might be. Some people could argue that one. I'm with you there. Look, Slapshot. That's a great one.
So good. And, Slapshot is a better drama than it gets credit for because everybody talks about the Hanson brothers and all the slapstick in it. And, the defenseman who wants to go to Florida. One of my friends, Steve Gleason, loves mentioning him. We quote that line all the time. I can't probably say on this show. But Paul Newman, terrific. The theme song of that movie is actually what the Maple Leafs play after they win. They play that Get Right Back to Where We Started From. That's what they play after. At least that was their victory song. I don't think they've changed that. If they did, it was very recent.
Yeah.
But yeah, Slapshot's terrific. 1977, another Paul Newman movie, of course, because he was in The Color of Money, which is outstanding. And The Hustler, another one. Again, I'm bending the rules. I'm cheating. I'm cheating, Big O. Let's just put it out there. There's an asterisk next to my name because I'm going to cheat.
Yeah. You're extending it a little bit too much. All right, your impressions on what's gone on with the Dolphins so far this week. Greer and McDaniel, pretty much, I guess they have to keep reiterating how much they're behind Tua.
Right? Yeah, it's a story. The problem is there's nothing Tua can do in the offseason. The proof of the pudding is going to be the eating. It's going to be the playing and getting hit and everybody holding their breath and then going back to the huddle and being okay. Or the first time he goes into the blue tent next year or something like that, which is inevitable in football. The quarterbacks, even in an era where they do everything to protect them, they still take a lot of contact. And we know the NFL, more than any other sport, the NFL is defined by one guy, your quarterback. It's the entire identity of your team. The structure of this team, with the coaching, with the playing, they made the playoffs last year, and even without Tua, they gave Buffalo a scare. That game was there to be won. You got to think if Tua plays, they win that game, and they obviously beat Buffalo once in the regular season.
We had Skylar on a couple of days ago, and I told him if you guys if you get that 4th and 1 instead of it being 4th and 6, and you convert that, I almost felt like you were going to win the game, and he agreed. He was like, "Yeah, man, that's how we all felt. That if we could convert that 4th and 1, we would have been on our way to win that game."
Yeah, with playing with a quarterback who had almost no snaps of the offense, right? And you could see how disorganized they were at the end of that game. But this is a team that is built to win 10 or 11 games. It's just a matter of I wish I had a good answer for this, and I don't know what I'm going to do for fantasy, right? Tyreek Hill is still a first-round pick. Jalen Waddle's probably graduated to a second-round pick. We don't know what's going to go on. I think the running back situation is very interesting because they've talked about maybe bringing guys back, but I think they're going to draft somebody or sign somebody. They're going to be a player on this roster who's not on the roster right now who'll be the first running back taken off the team. I don't know who that is, but it's going to get a fresh coat there. Obviously, they're going to have a different tight end look, but any offense with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle is really fun, and I would love to see Tua play a healthy full season. I mean, he was an MVP candidate. If he led the league, as we've talked about, he led the league in quarterback rating. His YPA was off the charts. I mean, the guy can play. It's just a matter of can he stay healthy, and nobody has a great answer for that.
I'm with you there. Are you an Anthony Richardson believer? Because I know his athletic ability is sick, but I still haven't seen the accuracy on a consistent basis. And I know that with Josh Allen, they kind of worked on his accuracy. Now, he still has his erratic moments, actually. Even to this day, Lamar Jackson has never really kind of fixed his accuracy Jalen Hurts was one of those guys that has been able to work on his accuracy. Where are you with Anthony Richardson? Because Lord knows the God gave him some serious gifts, but it's about putting it all together, obviously.
Yeah, well, if you had a choice, you have to go with a player who's got the gifts and you worry about his environment or coaching versus a player who maybe does everything right but is only so physically gifted, because you can never fix that. I mean, I guess the perfect example, guys like Drew Brees or Tom Brady wouldn't have had great combines. Brady looked like a paper boy when he showed up at the combine, but he did everything else right. But I mean, he had a stronger arm than people give him credit for. Also, his work ethic was off the charts. Patrick Mahomes was a guy in college who had every part of the skill set you'd want, but I mean, they didn't win at Texas Tech, and maybe a lot of that was the coaching, of course, because we know that the Cardinals learned that Cliff Kingsbury wasn't an NFL coach. But I come down on, give me the guy who's got all the talent, and I'll hope that he gets in the right situation. I'll hope he gets with the right coaching staff, and he figures it out. And one thing you never know with NFL is how much the environment matters. Steve Young and the Buccaneers was worthless. Couldn't do a thing because the Buccaneers were horrible. He goes to San Francisco and he builds a Hall of Fame career in his 30s. What if Tom Brady was drafted by the Browns or some horrible team, the Raiders when they were really down? And maybe Tom Brady would have had a 6-year, 7-year career as a backup, and we never would talk about him. It's a plausible question. I think I would take the chance on Richardson if I were a team that needed a quarterback, and we know there's like 10 teams right now that are dead, in the water at quarterback. I'd be fine taking him in the first round. I
just have to have a real quarterback guru on my team to make sure I have a chance to succeed. If I don't have a guy that has a track record of developing quarterbacks, then that's where it becomes an even bigger gamble, by taking Richardson. That's the only thing I would look at.
And one of the storylines this year, right, this offseason, is this. Look, there'll be rookie quarterbacks taken, and and how big are their hands, how big is their height, all this stuff. What is their arm strength? We also wonder, can Sean Payton fix Russell Wilson? Can Derek Carr figure out his career again? Can Jimmy Garoppolo stay healthy wherever he winds up? Is Aaron Rodgers going to get his mojo back? I guess he's probably going to the Jets. It sounds like they're going to give up on him in Green Bay. And also, is Jordan Love finally ready to be something interesting? He looked like he had no idea what he was doing the first couple times he played, but he showed some promise last year. The quarterback, the NFL, obviously so much goes into success, right? I mean, you need an offensive line, you need good play calling, you need a defense that can make impact plays on 3 different levels. The kicking game is so important, but so much of it is about the quarterbacks, and it's not just the rookies that we don't know about. There's so many veterans. Last year was a really bad year for veteran quarterbacks. Matthew Stafford fell off the map. Brady, took a step back his last year. Rodgers didn't play well. Carr's going to be on a new team now. We're at a point where it's like, I think like 7 or 8 quarterbacks we all like, and then we're not sure about the rest of the league.
Yeah. By the way, Eric Storm says Brady has 0 Super Bowl rings if drafted by a team like the Lions or Browns. QB only has a good situation he's in. Eric, let me tell you something about Tom Brady and Joe Montana. Okay? Both had great teams, but when both won their first Super Bowls, it was Jermaine Wiggins. It was Troy Brown.
J.R. Redmond.
It was Greg Cooper. It was Freddie Solomon. It wasn't Dwight Clark. It wasn't, any of the other things that came after with Jerry Rice and John Taylor. And with Tom Brady after that, he ended up adding, the Wes Welkers of the world and Gronk and
Randy Moss,
Hernandez, whatever. I mean, he started adding even better players down the line. But dude, his tight end in his first year that they won the Super Bowl was Jermaine Wiggins.
Yeah, he threw the ball to Redmond, Wiggins, and Brown on the final drive. He had under 100 yards on that drive. Dwight Clark was on the first Montana team. He did catch the famous
but the rest of the guys were just, bro. It was Freddie Solomon and Greg Cooper.
Oh, and the running back room was very ordinary too. Earl Cooper,
Greg Cooper, yeah.
We didn't have. There was no Roger Craig. There was no Jerry Rice.
There was no Tom Rathman.
Yep.
You got to kind of know the history too at times and give some of these players the credit too, because it's funny that Brady and Montana, they had great teams around them, but if you really look at their first titles, they won them with, not the same kind of skill set players that they had as their careers went on, they actually had much better teams as their careers went on. You know what I mean?
For sure.
It's like when he goes to Tampa, he's got Mike Evans and
Chris Godwin.
And Godwin. I mean, Jesus Christ, dude.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And he had a couple tight ends and all that.
Came back, and Fournette had the best year of his career with Brady 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's a little unfair. You know what I mean? Overall, you know, it's those teams are pretty good, obviously, but they did with less in those moments. So I would give it. I'm not putting Ben in the same category. Notice, because Ben was more of just a facilitator in his first year. But if you look at what Montana and Brady had to do, they had to make plays. They had to make plays in those first years. You know what I mean? So I think you're being a little unfair to those guys. Well, to Brady, that is, you know, overall. But I threw Montana in there because there's a you know, similarity in that first championship with those two guys.
Oh, for sure. And they're always going to be linked too, because neither one of them was a first-round draft pick.
Right.
Montana was a third-round pick out of Notre Dame, who had some college success, and everybody remembers. It's so funny how they're similar, right? Everybody remembers Montana's heroics in the bowl game. I think it was the Cotton Bowl, but still, he wasn't seen as a major prospect. Drafted in the third round.
Dude, he came to the Orange Bowl to play the Canes. Maybe 25,000 were there to see it.
Yeah.
Nobody was there to see it. Like, who the hell is Joe Montana?
Right.
You know,
Brady had the share time with Drew Henson, famously, finally got the job kind of to himself his final season. In fact, one year in the preseason, Lloyd Carr said, you know what, it's a dead heat between Brian Griese and Tom Brady. And because it's a dead heat, we always go to the upperclassmen. So Brian Griese played that year. And Brady was just as good as him in the walk-up to the regular season. But because Griese was the upperclassman, that's the way they went. And then Brady had that great moment. That was in the Orange Bowl against Alabama, where they beat Alabama, and Brady threw for 1 million yards and everything. But even then, so he thought he was going in the second or third round. The draft day is one of the worst days of his life. He eventually stopped watching it, and then he get a phone call from Bob Kraft, and you know, everything changed. And then, of course, what if Drew Bledsoe doesn't get hurt? What if Mo Lewis doesn't have the hit on Bledsoe? Maybe Brady would have sat for 3 or 4 more years. Who knows?
You never know. You never know, man. By the way, Devin brought in Remember the Titans. That's a newer movie, and that's actually a pretty damn good one.
Yep, really good one.
If somebody says that's their favorite movie, I have no problem with that one. Although I always hate watching the kid get paralyzed. That part I always hate of that movie. All right, Lamar Jackson. So the report came out this week that he wants no less than what DeSean Watson got. Does anybody give him that? Because I almost get the feeling that he's going to get tagged, he won't sign the tag, and there'll be a holdout. I think that's what we're headed for. Your thoughts? I
think that's exactly what's going to happen. But ultimately, Jackson's going to realize he has no agency in it. What's he going to do, sit out a year? Do the Le'Veon Bell? It's not a good idea. Your biological clock is ticking. They need to build the infrastructure there. Last year, they did not have the receivers. I mean, when they lost Bateman, I know they thought Bateman was going to have a breakout second year, but they had one of the worst receiving rooms in the year of the league, and certainly for a team that made the playoffs somehow. I know the Giants were kind of similar too. They didn't have a lot to work with, but they need to do a better job of supporting Jackson. But ultimately, I think they need each other, right? I mean, Baltimore doesn't want to pay him through the nose, but what are you going to do? If you don't have him, you're irrelevant. And Jackson doesn't want to accept it. That's why this Watson contract drives me crazy, because now it becomes a measuring stick for a guy who we don't even know if he can play anymore.
Right. And it was a contract that wasn't deserving, and then it ruins it to everybody else. Like, so if the Chiefs did it to Mahomes,
right,
then there's an argument there's a discussion we can have. But this was just irresponsibility, just like the Raiders did with Gruden, and then it shook up the coaching world too, you know, at the same time.
What price glory? You know, the Browns have been irrelevant for so long that they gave up all this in trade, and they gave up all this money, and for what? You know, good for you. Your team still stunk, and you have the stench of DeSean Watson on you. Congratulations.
Yeah, I know. It's just like you
did.
Thank
God he can come to Miami. You don't want all that. That would
I didn't want that, bro. I never wanted him or anybody else. I'm fine with Tua. I think the kid will figure things out, and he'll protect himself this year and play, you know, a lot better. We now know the key to winning, my man. The blueprint is out there, dude. Treat your players like shit. Your trainer has to tell your players, hey, You can't report an injury, bro. No, you're not injured. But wait a minute, my leg's disconnected from my body. Get out there on the field. Don't worry about it. So apparently the Kansas City Chiefs, they got the worst grade out there in the NFL. They don't trust their trainer. Their facilities are, cheap, all that kind of. So the Kansas City Chiefs are winning Super Bowls by mistreating their players. Our Dolphins are number 2 in the NFL in pampering players. What the hell is Stephen Ross doing? Building a hospital on the facility, improving the stadium, building a new practice facility. What's he doing, bro? Come on. We got to go back to the days of the 70s and let's mistreat players now. That's how it pays off, my brother. That's the key.
I'm glad you said days of the 70s because as you were talking, it jarred my memory to another sports movie we should have mentioned, which is outstanding, North Dallas
40. Yeah.
Yeah, so good. And talked about a lot of what we're talking about now, where the moment you're not useful to the team anymore, they don't care about you. They don't care about your long-term health. They don't care about you as a person. And that's what happens to Nick Nolte. When Nick Nolte can no longer help, what is basically the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, it's obvious.
By the way, I have changed my tune. That's my favorite movie.
Yeah, it's a great answer.
About that. That's my favorite movie.
Great final scene, too. Yeah, Mac Davis is well cast as the quarterback. And Nolte's like, yep, hey, it's off me. I'm not – you're on your own now. Good luck, Poot.
That's gross. Gross is when you go kiss your grandpa to sleep and he sticks his tongue down your throat. That's gross. There's so many lines.
So ahead of its time. Ahead of Peter
5 minutes. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And then he goes, hey, coach, how much? Fuck you. So it's freaking – I love North Dallas 40. That's my favorite sports movie. I completely forgot about North Dallas 40. That was awesome.
So ahead of its time.
For the youngins out there, if you've never seen North Dallas 40, it is probably the closest to real football back in the day. Because they can't be the way they are. Now, forget about it. But 20, 40, 50 years ago, that was probably the way football and football players were acting.
Yeah, it's almost like a documentary. It's almost like Dazed and Confused has like a documentary feel. North Dallas 40.
Your mic on? Your mic?
Can you hear me? Hello?
No. Funny how that happens, right?
Hello?
All of a sudden, everything's going normal, and then boom. No, we don't hear you. Hold on. I don't hear you either, Sean.
I hear him. I hear Scott.
Hello? Okay. Testing?
Is it me then? Is something going on with me?
I believe it may be, but I do hear Scott. I'll check the chat, see if they
wait a minute. I took off my headphones, so now I'm hearing Scott. Go ahead. Scott, you there?
I'm here. Hi.
Okay. All right. So what did you say there when I said the whole thing?
I think I said 58 Razor, Z slot. No. The thing with Kansas City is, what's the ultimate deodorant? They have the quarterback and the coach, right? And that makes up for it. That covers, and winning. John Madden famously said that winning was the ultimate deodorant. And another team that graded really well in the facilities is Dallas, who hasn't won a thing. The real North Dallas 40, North Dallas 53 now. When's the last time they won a game of relevance, right? But they have great, they take care of families there. They have great facilities. Jerry Jones obviously has more money than anybody, but it hasn't turned into a winning situation. So we whistle in the dark with the injuries, with the way the players are treated, where the money goes, how long a career is, and there's an underbelly everywhere. There's a bunch of stuff under the carpet. There's a bunch of grime under the couch, or under the stove or whatever. And when you look at it, you're like, wow, where did this come from? Why don't we clean this up? But it's something we all have to reconcile, that we cover the NFL. It's the greatest sport in America, but there's certainly something that comes as a price that's paid for that.
When you look at the Raiders situation, I saw where the coach and the general manager were talking about that they probably won't be looking for a big-time quarterback this offseason, that it's maybe more about 2024 to find a quarterback because they're a bit away from being an impact team. It's strange how last year everybody labeled everyone in that division as a contender, and all of a sudden a year later, there's no Brady, and it doesn't look like they're going to be in the market for Rodgers or anybody else right now. That Raiders thing took an absolute ugly turn with McDaniel here in year 2.
Yeah, you can imagine he has a long tenure there, right? And Devontae Adams get the money, and I never feel bad about anybody who either A, gets paid, or B, retires on their own terms. Not that Adams is close to retiring, but he was going to throw him the football. He went from Aaron Rodgers winning an MVP with him, 2 MVPs with him in a row, to Derek Carr, who had a mediocre season, and now, I don't know. Can Garoppolo and McDaniels work? Maybe. I wouldn't hate that, but you're right. Last year they were the hot division, and one team won the championship, and everybody else underperformed. The Chargers are the classic NFL underperformer. I had them going to the Super Bowl last year. Of course, that didn't happen. Then they blow their playoff game against Jacksonville, as only the Chargers pretty much can. And the Broncos, I was so glad when their season ended. They had like 8 standalone games, and almost all of them were horrible. They were unwatchable. And the Raiders, I don't know about you. I just wish the Raiders would go back to Oakland and the Chargers would go back to San Diego, and it doesn't make sense to me. I don't like the Vegas. I know Vegas is a good market and everything. Give them an expansion team, or give them a team that nobody cares about. I still think the Raiders should be in Oakland, and I know there's problems with that stadium and they don't want to build it and everything, and there's all sorts of gridlock there. And they'll probably lose the A's at some point. But to me, it's the Oakland Raiders. It's Kenny Stabler and John Madden and Clifford Branch and Fred Biletnikoff and.
But it's money, bro. Money makes the world go round, sure. and Oakland is not a city that is built to handle professional teams. They just don't have that economy and the structure, and that's why you got to go across the bay. That's where they have the money and the structure. Unfortunately, Oakland is not a big enough town to be a professional sports town.
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
That's the sad part about it, man. Look at the Warriors. They kind of had to, they were kind of in the middle, and they moved over more to the city, and just you see the San Francisco.
The Niners Stadium is nowhere near San Francisco now, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's Palo Alto, so it's moved out, and it's just a different part of the world, and it's probably they're not New York, New Jersey. That's the thing. Unfortunately, Oakland is not New Jersey. Maybe they both have smell. Maybe that's the only thing that, I don't know. Does Oakland have any gas refineries like Jersey? I don't know if they do. I don't remember any stench really out of Oakland like it is Jersey. But outside of that, Jersey's way bigger, and they can handle it. Whereas Oakland just doesn't have the juice, man, unfortunately.
I hear you. You like to think of the NFL that any size market can be viable because of the way the game is structured. It doesn't work in other sports, right? But you make valid points. Maybe I just have to accept. And Vegas is a good market.
It's an up and coming market. Yeah, it's a destination city. Mm-hmm. So even if you don't completely sell out because it's transient over there, you probably have a ton of people that live there that are not from Vegas. But whenever the Packers or the Dolphins or the Bears or whoever goes there, those fan bases are going to flock. For sure. Like they come here to Miami or LA. LA also is very transient. And so I'm sure you're not going to fill it up with Rams fans, but I'm sure there's going to be, an extra 10, 15,000 of those fans from the visiting cities. Why? Because Los Angeles is a destination type city. And that's
even a bigger thing for the Chargers, right? I mean, any Charger game, they're outnumbered by the visiting fans. And I actually think Vegas is a good sports city anyway. I mean, look how well they've supported the hockey team, right? Yeah. I mean, the Knights.
Now the hockey team has done their part. They have been relevant from day freaking one.
Yeah, they made the finals the first year, was it? Yep.
Yeah. So they've been and they maintained it. You know what I mean? They stay being a pretty good team overall.
Isn't it fascinating how quickly expansion hockey teams have been good lately? I mean, Vegas goes to the finals right away. Seattle has a good team. Seattle's a legitimate contender now in their second season.
Well, the problem is it's what baseball needs. They have a hard cap, bro. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter where you live, what city you're in. Everybody works with the same amount of money. So it's up to your skill set as a front office and a coaching staff to either find players or develop them and get the max out of them. So Vegas is obviously doing it better than most, and that's why they've been relevant. because that's what baseball needs. That's what will save baseball, actually. If you put an even level cap on everybody, not that that'll ever happen, because the power teams are never going to want that. They're never going to want to vote for it. You think, what is it, Steve Cohen? I think Cohen, the owner for the Mets.
Yep, sure.
You think that guy wants to have an even level playing field with the Marlins? No, dude. He wants to be able to buy whatever the hell he wants. I mean, his payroll is $75 million more than the Yankees this year. And that's what.
That's Shohei Ohtani will be a free agent next year. It's like, okay, where's he going? Well, it's like 3 teams. 3 teams make sense, and like 26 don't. A player that everybody in theory should want. So anyway, let me ask you really quick before we get out of here.
Yes.
Where do you come down on the baseball rule changes?
I'm fine with him. Because, look, man, I'm a classic baseball fan. So to me, I love the game the way it used to be. Mm-hmm. You didn't have to shift. I like more bunting. I like more stealing. I like more manufacturing runs. I hate the home run strikeout thing. So I'm more of a classic guy. But I do understand that the young people have no attention span, and so they can't sit there and really watch a game. So speeding it up, I get it, dude. I get it. Terry Pendleton used to drive my ass crazy, and Noma Garcia Parra used to drive my ass crazy when they'd step out of the box and fix every goddamn thing on their bodies before they stepped into the box. So I get those things. I get that you got to speed it up because, dude, your sport is dying, your fans are dying, and you're doing a shit job of picking up young fans. And that's really the problem with Major League Baseball, is that they can't find the future of their fans. It's crazy.
I remember it wasn't that long ago. Basketball didn't have a shot clock. The NCAA tournament only had a shot clock into the mid '80s, right? I mean, Dean Smith famously, one year Duke was in a zone defense, and Dean Smith said, "We're just going to pass the ball until they get out of the zone." So at halftime, it was like 4-2 or something like that. Talk about trying to ruin your sport, right? But there's nothing wrong with speeding up play. I'm with you. I hate the way home runs and strikeouts smother the game. And it's also when a guy grounds out to right field and there's a keg party of defenders out there, that doesn't seem right to me. So I end the game going a little bit quicker. Nobody ever went to the park and said, I hope I see a bunch of pitching changes today. I hope I see Tony Fossas pitch today. No. This idea that the starter goes 4 innings, I hate that too.
I'm with you.
Let the starter pitch 7 innings. We don't need 14 relievers every day. It's not the way baseball should be.
And that slows it down too. All right, what do you got going on Yahoo Sports so folks can check you out, my friend?
Yeah, a lot of fantasy baseball coverage. Of course, Yahoo Fantasy Baseball is open. We'll be doing a ton of free agency and draft coverage, so check out the Yahoo Fantasy Football Forecast, which is hosted by my colleague Matt Harmon. I'm one of the regular guests on that, and we'll also be doing a lot of NCAA tournament basketball stuff, and I'll be involved in that as well. So about a week from now, you'll be filling out your bracket, trying to make some money that way. All in play, all in season at Yahoo Sports.
And follow him on Twitter at Scott_Pianowski. Scott, we'll catch up next week, my friend. Thank you very much.
Thanks, buddy. Talk to you soon.
You got it. All right, Sports Grill, baby. 8 amazing locations. The new Doral location is open. Go take advantage at Sports Grill. And by the way, you can take the sauces home too. Yeah, baby. The Dallas sauce. Yeah, the barbecue, the Miami Heat. They've got them all for you there. You can take them home with you. Yes, sir, the Blackberry Barbecue. That's right. Add it to your cart. Take it home. Sportsgrill.com. Check out the nearest location to you in South Florida. One of the great sports bars in this country, Sports Grill.